State's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Jesse Irwin. Coming up this half hour, why the season opener between the Thunder and the Rockets got canceled last minute, and it's Christmas Eve. So for something to talk about, we're asking how you're spending the holiday weekend and if the pandemic is changing how you're celebrating. You can also participate in our Insta poll. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. First, let's check in with Michael.
Oh my, it's a cold one out there. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, 22 degrees, but how about that wind chill? Only 10. Right now, these are actual temperatures. A whole lot of low 20s as the wind is now shifted, moving in from the northwest. Luckily, it's died down a little bit compared to what we had yesterday, but still picking up double digits. And what that does is puts our wind chills easily down into the teens, if not 11 and 12 degrees. Skywatch Storm Tracker, all the precip. It is off to the east side of the Mississippi. Not a whole lot of snow involved with that thing as of yet. It's for our forecast for today. Only going to make it up into the 30s, but we will have plenty of sunshine. It'll actually be delightful if you need to be out and about. And then as we push into Christmas, a little bit better. Get it up into the 40s, more sunshine as well, and then slowly rebounding back into the 50s for what's going to be a nice weekend until we see a little rain emerge on Sunday night into Monday morning.
Very nice. You ready for the holiday?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
That was just resounding with confidence, wasn't it?
Well, I could ask you again in an hour if you want me to. You want me to do that?
Sure.
All right, I'll check.
You ask me every half hour to see if I get more confident.
Every half hour?
Yeah, see if I get more confident.
Got it. Thank you, Michael. New this morning, a Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69, about 50 miles south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a suspect in southeast Kansas. Cherokee County deputies were called to a rural Columbus, Kansas home Tuesday afternoon when a property owner discovered a burglary in progress. The suspect fled in a truck until authorities stopped him near Southwest 30th and Greenlawn, where he got out and ran from there. And from there, the manhunt was on. Authorities used a Cherokee County K-9 team while an aircraft out of Wichita searched overhead. After about 3 hours, they arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman of Riverton, Kansas, accused of various crimes, including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. We're learning more about how the elderly can get COVID-19 vaccines. The Crawford County Health Department has received 200 doses of the Moderna vaccine. Those are being used to vaccinate paramedics, EMTs, and staff at the health department. And that's because right now, Kansas is still in the first phase of distribution. The health department director says people aged 65 and older and those with high-risk factors should have access to vaccines in late winter. Now, once that time comes, the department's plan is to do those vaccinations curbside or drive-through. If they have a limited supply, they'll be done by appointment at the health department.
We'll use all media components, newspaper, TV, social media, to let everybody know. We do want to get this out as soon as we can, and just the moment that we receive enough vaccine or a vaccine for the public, we will be letting them know.
The health department has started putting together a list of people who are interested in getting the vaccine once it's available. The Newton County Health Department is reporting 3 more COVID-19 deaths. The county says the patients were all men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. These latest deaths bring the county's total to 64. A St. Louis-based supermarket chain gives its employees gifts and at the same time helps local restaurants. And Michaela Lumirgi has the story.
In an effort to support small restaurants in our communities, each Snooks location picked one restaurant in need within a 5-mile radius of their store and purchased $15 gift cards for each and every single one of their employees.
Not only are we supporting our teammates and giving them some cool, a cool gift and a cool way to show our appreciation from them, but really to give back to our local communities and give back to our local restaurants.
With over 12,000 employees, Schnucks invested nearly $180,000 back into our communities. While Andy DeCou was selecting restaurants, one stood out to him in particularly.
Jenny's Diner, and the lady's name is Betty, and just the reaction she had was just, it touched my heart. Still gives me goosebumps.
That phone call was just from my darkest moment, and I just couldn't hold it. I just broke down and cried. I broke down and cried.
Betty Heary started working at Jenny's Diner as a cashier, transitioned to a server, and is now a current co-owner. Closures due to the pandemic have taken a toll on her business.
It's not just like it's in the past. It's currently happening. When you ask, like, were you worried? I am worried today.
Once it was announced indoor dining would be banned for 2 more weeks, her heart sank. But then, a call from Schnucks.
Like 2 more weeks, you know. Then, about the same time, Andy from Schnucks called to pick our store and to provide gift cards to their members of staff and some of their customers for over 1,600. Was like, this is huge. There's hope that we're going to be okay.
Betty says miracles still happen, and she regards the gift cards purchased by Schnucks as a miracle. Well, a Joplin woman celebrated her 103rd birthday last night. Fawn Harbor celebrated with something that's become kind of a pandemic-era tradition, a drive-by party. Her friends and family drove by her house at a safe distance to send their birthday wishes. That is wonderful.
It makes me feel real happy. It was a kind of surprise in a way, and in a way I heard it through the grapevine.
Harbor remains pretty active, by the way. She works 3 days a week. We asked her about what had changed from her younger years, and she said people complain too much. I love it. Happy birthday, Fawn. Hey, Michael, it's 5:07.
No complaining. Fawn says no complaining and no complaining. Our weather trend today, we've got wind chills right now in the teens. Plenty of sunshine, but only going to make it into the 30s. Chilly Christmas Eve ahead, but no travel concerns whatsoever, and we'll roll that for tomorrow as well. It's going to be a sunshiny Christmas day, and then we're back into the 50s there by the time we get to the weekend.
Well, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pittsburgh's Javon Grant continues to ball on the court. We hear about his latest accomplishment and how he says his teammates have played a role in his success. Plus, why health officials say they're worried about a post-Christmas surge in COVID cases. And we'll hear from a therapist on how to cope with grief during the holidays. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh High School's Javon Grant has been incredible to start the season, putting up more than 30 points a night. Our own Andy Ciateco caught up with Javon on what's been helping him produce those big numbers night in and night out.
He is one of the most exciting players to watch in Kansas. Javon Grant is having an outstanding start to the season.
Even since he's been a freshman, he's got that extra competitive edge that no matter what, he doesn't back down, and you just know what you're getting from him night in, night out.
The senior has averaged 36 points through the Purple Dragons' first 4 games, including 41 against Riverton on Monday night. That put him over 1,000 career points.
I thought I was going to get it a little later because I didn't think I was going to get it that game, but it felt really good.
Playing a team sport, but at the same time, in order for your team to do well, people should have their own individual goals, and I know that was one of his, so that's one thing he can check off.
What has allowed Grant to produce offensively is his team.
They trust me a lot. They tell me that they trust me. They don't get the ball to me in my right spots. So the team chemistry is there.
Arguably one of the best finishers in the state.
Early on, it definitely was kind of eye-opening, but again, now it's not even surprising anymore. And, you know, when it doesn't go in, then you're kind of more surprised now.
However, Grant says he would rather take shots outside.
It depends on the time of the game, but I probably like hitting a 3. I like a 3 bitter.
With a lot of season left to play after the break, Grant says his team is looking towards a league title and beyond.
We're definitely trying to get the SEK league back, for sure. That's the first one, and then we're definitely trying to go as far as we can in the playoffs and eventually go to state.
After the Christmas break, Pittsburgh on the road to face Fort Scott. That'll be the league opener on January 8th. Regular season opener for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's put on hold. Last night's game against the Rockets canceled just hours before it was scheduled to start. 3 players with the Rockets had positive or inconclusive COVID-19 tests, while 4 others are in quarantine after contact tracing. Meanwhile, the league fined Rocket star James Harden $50,000. NBA says he attended an indoor party on Monday, violating its health and safety protocols. Harden seen on social media at the event without a mask. Fans who did not learn about the postponement before getting to the arena, understandably a little upset.
In a way, they kind of let fans down. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's disappointed right now, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who drove a few hours to come see them. And I'm sure there's people who paid a lot more money than I did. It's just like I wasted all this time expecting these people to be, hold themselves to a higher standard and just be role models.
Oklahoma City will play its regular season opener Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets, while the NBA tries to reschedule the Oklahoma City-Houston game. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, why officials say there could be another coronavirus mutation located in South Africa. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Right at 5:17 on this early Christmas Eve morning, and it is a cold one right now from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera. 22 degrees is where we stand, that wind chill barely hanging on to double digits. 23 in Parsons, let's go 22 in both Nevada and Lamar, and 23 as well in Neosho. Now the wind, complete shift from yesterday as it moved in from the southwest, flipped over. Now the cold temps coming in from the northwest. Luckily it has died down just a little bit, not picking up those 20-mile-an-hour winds that we had yesterday. At the same point in time, our wind chills dipping into the teens, if not 10, 11, 12 degrees. So it's frigid right now when you walk outside. Skywatch storm tracker, clear as can be. Don't have any worries on it. Nationally speaking, we're not picking up a whole lot of snow. Not a whole lot of white Christmas activity that we're looking at. The trough, though, you can tell it's while it stays up to the north right there, they're going to get a good winter storm. They'll get some snow to develop on the backside of it as it progresses toward the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern portion, but really no worries about us. If you got to be on the road anywhere within driving distance, you're looking A-OK on that, and we're actually not seeing a whole lot of national delays at airports, even with that system that's progressing toward the east. Highs today only in the mid-30s. Plenty of sunshine, though, going to be delightful. And then as we move overnight into what will eventually be Christmas Day, we're going to go mostly clear. Winds still coming in from the northwest, though. And look, it's going to be cold, cold, cold on early Christmas Day. Like I said, this is that national perspective I was talking about. A little white activity there for late Christmas Eve, but you got to get into eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania for that really to amount to anything, and majority of it wants to stay as rain all the way into Christmas Day. And speaking of Christmas Day, here's a look at what we're going to have in the 4 states. Like I said, it's going to be chilly in the morning, but then the sunshine actually going to take us up into the 40s for the afternoon. So if the kids have any toys that they want to enjoy outside, it's going to be absolutely perfect for it. Actually just going to be pretty normal December temperatures. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, not looking at really any rain until we get from Sunday night into Monday, and the weekend is going to put us back into the 50s. Next cold front that really we're going to concentrate on is going to be from Tuesday into Wednesday, because that does give us a chance for one of those nights of a wintry mix. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll. The temptation of spending end-of-the-year holidays with family and friends is just too strong for people. And this comes despite dire warnings from health officials about another likely spike in COVID-19 deaths. Here's John Lawrence.
Many Americans are hitting the road in the last weeks of 2020 despite spiking COVID-19 death tolls and dwindling ICU beds.
Well, my parents are aging, and so we want to be with them for Christmas.
AAA projects about 85 million people in the U.S. may travel through January 3rd. That's down roughly 30% from last year, but health officials say the COVID-19 pandemic makes it risky for large groups to gather indoors and celebrate the season.
I'm afraid that if, in fact, we see this happen, we will have a surge that's superimposed upon the difficult situation we are already in.
The hospital systems are on the verge of collapse in terms of being able to provide care. And if we anticipate that Christmas is going to add to the potential surge of cases.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's latest ensemble forecast projects the U.S. death toll from COVID-19 could reach as high as 419,000 by January 16th.
Right now, I have no fear at all. Because we're taking proper precautions.
Overall, I felt safe. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't go.
The CDC advises holiday travelers to get tested for COVID-19 3 to 5 days after their trips and to limit non-essential activities for a week. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
CDC says if someone is at a higher risk for COVID-19, others in the household should act as if they are at a higher risk as well. Our question on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, is the pandemic changing how you celebrate Christmas this year? And also, that's the subject of our morning Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll get to your comments and voting results in a bit. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the holidays are supposed to be a happy time, but if you're grieving a loss, it can be filled with sadness and pain. Mandy Gaither has 4 ways to cope with grief.
Togetherness, but the holidays can be hard on those who have lost a loved one.
It can bring up a lot of feelings. And when we're grieving, we tend to want to avoid the things that are painful and uncomfortable. But trying to ignore how we feel generally does more harm than good.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life says those sad feelings will eventually come out. The first way to cope is letting yourself feel.
Creating an environment where you're recognizing that feelings are normal and it's not a sign of weakness. Feelings aren't good or bad, positive or negative. They just are, and we all have them.
If there are holiday celebrations, have a plan.
If there's a quiet place that you can escape to for a couple minutes, or if you yourself as the adult, you need a minute and a break from everyone, who can watch your kids for a couple minutes and give you that space?
Third, honor and celebrate your lost loved one.
Talking about them, thinking about them can actually bring us a lot of comfort and help with our own grieving and healing process.
Finally, do what feels right during the holidays because everyone grieves differently.
We can't take away the loss, but we can decide how we handle it. And we don't need to suffer any more than we need to.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The therapist says if you or a family member are struggling emotionally, don't hesitate to reach out to your healthcare provider. A new drug treatment could significantly improve survival in patients suffering with acute myeloid leukemia. AML is a blood cancer that becomes more common with age, with the majority of older patients dying within 2 years of diagnosis. A global clinical trial showed the drug CC4886 produced a 30% improvement in survival for patients over the age of 55. Americans who live in rural areas may be less likely to get care for neurological conditions like dementia, vertigo, or sleep disorders. That's because neurologists are not evenly spread out around the country. A study at the University of Michigan finds the lowest served areas have just 10 neurologists for every 100,000 people, compared to 43 in other regions of the country. Psychologists say children are learning to read facial expressions even when they're covered with masks. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin showed children pictures of people displaying various emotions, and even with the faces wearing masks, the kids correctly identified sadness 28% of the time, anger 27% of the time, and fear 18% of the time. It's really interesting. Let's look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
It's a cold one out there. We've got wind chills right now in the teens. Sunrise here at 7:30, and it certainly is going to be a nice day outside now as we work into Christmas Day. Very cold morning, but additional sunshine And a little bit better as we are going to be up into the 40s for the afternoon period. Not bad looking weekend, 50s on the horizon, and looking at rain Sunday night into Monday morning. Next cold front, that's coming on Tuesday. Keep our eyes on the wintry precip anticipated with that. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30 a.m. I'm Jesse Irwin. Coming up this half hour, our something to talk about this morning is about Christmas. We're asking if the pandemic's changing the way you celebrate the holidays. We also invite you to participate in our Insta poll. Head to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote to do so. But first, let's check in with Michael.
All right, Jesse, I'm going to jump ahead and we'll do our Christmas forecast real fast because I think that's what everybody is anticipating. If you are traveling, if the kids want to get outside, it's going to be nice and sunny. But before we get there, let's talk about how cold it is on this Christmas Eve morn, because we've got wind chills right now that are down into the teens. Look at it, only 10 degrees is what it feels like from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. Now, these are actual temperatures as we are in the low 20s right now. Nobody even close to the freezing mark with the shifting winds coming in from the northwest. Not as blustery as it was yesterday, but still picking up double digits there in Independence, Chanute, and Nevada. Nationally speaking, not a whole lot of action for an anticipated white Christmas. See a little snow up by the Great Lakes right there. Nothing behind it, though. Very, very dry. Really from west of the Mississippi all the way to the west coast. When we talk about our Christmas Eve, we are going to have sunny skies, highs only in the 30s, however. As we move overnight, that's what we started with, our Christmas Day forecast, sunny, up around 45 degrees. More sunshine on Saturday and Sunday in the 50s, a little bit of rain kicking in Sunday night into Monday morning.
All right, so when can we start tracking Santa?
We'll probably do that here. You can do it at any time. I'm probably going to do it in my next weather hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, did I blow the big
You
surprise?
can call for it. You can just be like in the middle of the story and be like, where's Santa?
And you can tell me exactly where he'll be?
No, that's up the control room because I've got like 18 sources already open over here.
Okay, cool. All right, control room, be ready. I guess it's a good thing to
Will's
say.
got you, I'm telling you.
Will's got it? Okay.
Dylan and Will are on it.
Be ready, guys. Well, new this morning, a Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69 south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities have charged 2 more people in connection to the July 13th murder of Terry Harless in Lamar, Missouri, and one of those suspects is still on the loose. Authorities tell us they're looking for 33-year-old David Morris of Dunwich, Missouri. They've already arrested and charged 26-year-old Trey Ackerson and 27-year-old Lane Bronson in connection with the crime. All 3 are suspects in the shooting death of 51-year-old Terry Harless. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a suspect in southeast Kansas. Cherokee County deputies were called to a rural Columbus, Kansas home Tuesday afternoon when a property owner discovered a burglary in progress. The suspect fled in a truck until authorities stopped him near Southwest 30th and Greenlawn, where he got out and ran. And from there, the manhunt was on. Authorities then used a Cherokee County K-9 team while an aircraft out of Wichita searched overhead. After about 3 hours, they arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman of Riverton, Kansas, accused of various crimes including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. Well, we're learning more about when the elderly who don't live in a nursing facility may have access to coronavirus vaccines. The Crawford County Health Department says they should be available for those people by late winter. Now, once they are available, how they're distributed will depend on the number that they receive. So if they get a lot, they want to hold curbside and drive-through vaccine clinics where older residents and those with underlying health conditions wouldn't need an appointment. But if it's a smaller number, then they'll do them at the health department by appointment. A St. Louis, Missouri man is fighting back against porch pirates with some help from his cat. Ray Preston has the details.
Finally, I just kind of got tired of it, and I'm like, look, someone's got to start fighting back against these folks.
Bruce Watson says his security cameras were recording people stealing packages, walking through the neighborhood, checking for unlocked vehicles. Watson was frustrated. You could say he found inspiration in his cat's litter box.
One day was cleaning up after the cats and had a couple extra Amazon packages sitting in the basement. I'm like, you know what, we're going to try this out.
So he packaged up what was in the litter box and left it out. Didn't take long.
I've had 2 cat crap packages stolen just this week alone.
A neighbor actually found one of the packages opened and thrown on the ground and was ready to return it when he saw the note to the thief that Watson had included inside.
Hi, you're on camera. F you, thief. Hope you like cat crap. You know, I probably could have been a little more polite.
He says he was pretty aggravated that day. The problem is all around St. Louis. This 22-year-old O'Fallon, Illinois woman looking like a delivery person was actually taking packages off porches around St. Charles County. This couple said to be stealing in South St. Louis County. Watson says he's concerned about more than just a package being taken.
If someone's willing to drive around in broad daylight and steal from you, what else are they willing to do? That's what actually worries me more than a package is they're invading people's private sanctity of their home.
Police say homeowners should ask delivery drivers to put packages out of sight or have items delivered to a trusted neighbor. Or just ask your local cat for advice. I love that. Well, a bus train rolled through Carthage yesterday. It was in honor of Philip Mitch Brownrigg, a former Carthage bus driver who passed away last week. Around 60 buses rolled past Brownrigg's house. Look at that.
You know, he'd say thank you and that he loved them. And they meant just as much to him as he did to them.
Brownrigg died after contracting pneumonia. He was 49 years old. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a local doctor tells us what you need to know about the coronavirus vaccines. Plus, we look at how some animals at the Berlin Zoo are getting into the Christmas spirit. First, it is 5:37.
Temperatures only in the 30s later on this afternoon. Now, it will be mostly sunny with the wind coming in from the northwest. 10 to 15 miles per hour, but a chill in the air nonetheless. Do warm up a little bit here for our Christmas Day forecast. Even though we start in the teens, we're able to make it up into the 40s during the afternoon hours. And we keep on warming up as we head into the weekend. 50s on both Saturday and Sunday. So we have no travel concerns if you are out and about, whether it be today all the way through Sunday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping World Watch, one of the largest icebergs in the world is starting to break up. Recent satellite imagery suggests the iceberg has grounded out onto the oceanic shelf where it is now breaking apart. Officials say it's the result of a current around South Georgia. The iceberg is said to be the size of a small island. A Royal Air Force from the British Forces South Atlantic Island is investigating. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says every United Kingdom traveler to his city will receive a home visit from a sheriff's deputy enforcing quarantine orders. It's part of an effort to slow the spread of a new COVID-19 variant. This comes as officials in Britain decide whether or not to impose tighter restrictions within the country. Greg Palkett has details from London.
Clashes in England over COVID-19 restrictions. Truck drivers battling with police at the port of Dover. They've been held there for 2 days when France banned travel from the UK, triggered by a new strain of virus here. Well, it's now agreed truckers can travel if they test negative for COVID-19. With thousands of trucks backed up, it could take days for all to roll.
And that's the point why the people are protesting, because we just want to make the test and just go straight to home.
This is the lockdown in the UK tightens. Health officials calling for broader measures throughout the country starting this weekend. Right now, London and surroundings are shut. Some supermarkets are rationing items amid fears they could run out. Despite vaccinations since last week, coronavirus infections and deaths are soaring, all fueled by that more contagious COVID-19 mutant strain, which seems to affect young people more than before.
This virus has changed in some way which
doesn't particularly target children, just makes children more like adults.
And it's now revealed there could be yet another coronavirus mutation, this time from South Africa. 2 cases have been detected in the UK, prompting new measures and concerns.
It is yet more transmissible, and it appears to have mutated further than the new variant that's been discovered in the UK.
The COVID variants are showing up in other countries, including possibly the U.S. New York Governor Cuomo demanded airlines test passengers from the UK. Now, New York City Mayor de Blasio is ordering those quarantine checks on travelers by officials.
We cannot take chances with anyone who travels, particularly folks traveling in from the UK.
Travel around the world is expected to spike during the next week or two, during the holidays, which officials fear could cause a spike in COVID cases. Animals at the Berlin Zoo got into the festive spirit this week. Take a look at this. Some pandas chowed down on some Christmas cookies strung on their very own Christmas tree. They were also equipped with a jute bag scented with essential oils and bamboo. These are some luxurious pandas, my goodness. Some lions who are celebrating their first birthday also got in on the act, while zoo workers swung their tree back and forth to give the animals some activity while they eat. Polar bears also got a nice treat and enjoyed a swim post-feast. And okay, don't forget about the camels. They partook in their own Christmas meal as well. Look at that jump. Man, too cool. Well, that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Jesse. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll asking if the pandemic is changing how you are celebrating Christmas this year. We'll pick up our comments with Sam Delaney. Sam writes, the worst part of this pandemic, not being able to go to Christmas Eve church service, 61 years going. Rick Norton, member of the club, spending Christmas with my family. Merry Christmas, KOAM in Pittsburgh. May your Christmas be happy. We say Merry Christmas, Rick. Hope the angel on the tree is working out for you. Romelda Patterson with a Merry Christmas, and a Merry Christmas to you, Romelda. She's spending Christmas with our children and grandchildren. Michelle Pacini, Merry Christmas, everyone, and Merry Christmas, Michelle. She says, may it be merry and safe, a little love ya, Mama. Husband and I staying home, enjoying our time together safely. And Becky Mangarelli, she's hanging out at the house with her husband and all our animals, hoping next Christmas we'll be back to normal. As far as our Insta poll goes this morning, 63% of you say sure, the pandemic is having a change on how you celebrate. Now, 37% of you say no, not changing your plans whatsoever. You've got a chance to participate. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69 south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The Crawford County Health Department says COVID-19 vaccines should be available for the elderly by late winter. How they're distributed will depend on the number they receive. If they get a lot, the health department wants to hold curbside and drive-through vaccine clinics. But if it's a smaller number, they'll do them at the health department by appointment. The Department of Social Services in Missouri has suspended recertification interviews for SNAP benefits. Typically, SNAP recipients must do an interview when they apply, and then a recertification interview every 12 to 24 months. But starting December 28th, that recertification interview will not be required. The change does not apply to those submitting new applications for SNAP benefits. They must still do an interview. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a burglary suspect in rural Columbus, Kansas. After about 3 hours of searching, Cherokee County Police arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman. He stands accused of various crimes, including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Got our first single digit that popped up on the board. Wind chill down to 9 degrees right now in Mount Vernon, Missouri. Everybody else pretty much in the teens, nobody even close to the freezing mark, even when we talk about pure temperature. So we know it's going to be a chilly Christmas Eve day. Plenty of sunshine though, don't worry about that. Northwest breeze just 10 to 15 miles per hour. No travel worries either for today or tomorrow, as the sun on Christmas Day able to carry us up into the 40s during the afternoon hours. So it's going to be great for the kiddos to get outside and enjoy some of that as well. Next shot for rain Sunday night into Monday, and 50s over the weekend. Be back right after this. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, we're asking if the pandemic is changing how you celebrate Christmas, and we'll begin our comments, or I should say resume our comments with Judy Hastings, who says, I'm a full-time 24/7 caregiver. Never leave or have a life anyway. This year, one of my sons and his wife have stepped in for the holiday, and I get to go home for a few days. Best Christmas gift I could ever receive. Scotty Thurman's going to Shady Beach, walk along the river, find some eagles, get pictures of them, and then down to Bella Vista to the Glass Chapel for this evening. Glenn Ritchie says, yes, the pandemic's altering our plans a bit, but I think the worst part of the whole thing is how you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. It's kind of like a black cloud hanging over you. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great Christmas in spite of this dreaded disease. And a Merry Christmas to you as well, Mr. Glenn. Now, as far as our Insta poll goes this morning, same question. Is the pandemic changing how you celebrate Christmas this year? Right now, 60% of you saying yes, it does. Now, 40% saying no. Actually hasn't altered your plans whatsoever. And you've got plenty of time to either leave us a comment on the Facebook page or take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Now it's time for a little Vaccine 101.
Well, as vaccines are shipped around the country and around the world, we have a lot of questions about them, and we're fortunate enough to be joined this morning by Jeff Huffman. Jeff is the infectious disease pharmacist with Freeman Health. And Jeff, we really appreciate you being here because there's a ton of questions that we have that even if we hear an answer, it might not fully make sense. So I want to sort of take this step by step, if that's all right. And I want to start by asking you about the Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine and just the technology and research behind them first. We can get into differences here in a second, but I think understanding what messenger RNA is and how that sort of plays into what created these would be great.
Well, traditional vaccines use a live virus or a killed virus to work. The messenger RNA sends an order to your cell to produce the spike protein that you find on the COVID-19 molecule. Now it's only producing part of the virus, not the whole virus, and that's why you can't get sick from that. When your body produces that spike protein, your body will also produce antibodies against that spike protein to neutralize it. So next time when you run into COVID-19 in the community, your body will already have antibodies developed to it that will neutralize that and hopefully protect you.
So what would make this a better option than the traditional vaccine? I mean, I know that, with the dead virus approach, you still have to get, a vaccine every year, right? We look at the flu. So is something like this a one-time thing, or how does that sort of work and why is it better?
Well, it's to be determined on how often we're going to have to get the COVID vaccine. They haven't come out with that data yet. One of the advantages of the messenger RNA versus the older vaccine types with the live or the killed virus is they can produce messenger RNA vaccine very quickly compared to the older vaccines.
So could you explain for us the Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine and what the differences are between those? Because I understand on Tuesday, Freeman received its first shipment of vaccines and those were Moderna. So was that your choice and why, I guess, what are the pros and cons to them is probably the best way to explain it.
Sure. The Pfizer vaccine is indicated for patients 16 years of age and older. Moderna is 18 years of age and older. The Pfizer vaccine requires ultra cold storage. Moderna, you can keep in a traditional freezer.
So from what I do understand, the immunity that you get from this vaccine comes fully, after you get 2 doses of it, right? It takes 2 doses of this vaccine. So how immune are you to COVID-19 after your first shot?
That's a good question. I think that there's probably no hard data on that, but you would have some immunity a couple weeks after the first shot, but you're not going to have full immunity until 2 weeks after your second shot. That's why it's very, very important that people get that second shot.
Well, we will continue to ask questions to Jeff Huffman. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning
You're
News
welcome.
right after this.
Chills in the teens on this Christmas Eve morning, and it's going to be a chilly one even this afternoon. Sunny skies, but only into the 30s. So, like I said, bundle up, because there's a bite out there when you step outside. Now, as far as Christmas Day goes, yeah, another very cold start in the teens. But at least it gets a little bit better during the afternoon, as we'll be able to make it up into the 40s. Perfect for the kiddos to get out. Now, speaking of getting outside, if you are traveling, whether it be today, tomorrow, or even over the weekend, we have absolutely no weather concerns. Next shot for rain, we're looking at Sunday evening into Monday morning. And then our next big event is going to be the cold front on Tuesday into Wednesday, as that tries to throw us a little wintry mix our way as we get ready to close down 2020.
Most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Jesse Irwin. Coming up this half hour, the man in red stops by one last time to read Christmas lists from 4-state children. And for our Something to Talk About, we're asking if the pandemic is changing how you celebrate Christmas this year. You can also participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, let's check in with Michael.
Skywatch storm tracker looking great, clear as can be, but of course clear skies also result in extremely cold December temperatures. 23 right now from the Freeman Health System sky camera with a wind chill of only 12. Now these are our actual temperatures, nobody even close to the 32-degree mark, everybody in the low 20s for the most part, thanks to the shifting northwest winds. Now, while they're beginning to die down a little bit, I'll tell you what, we've even picked up a single digit here on as far as what it feels like. Look at Nevada and Stockton sitting at 9 degrees. Not a whole lot of action in the contiguous 48 as far as who's going to have a white Christmas right now. A little bit of snowfall up into the Great Lakes. Big systems working down in the southeastern portion by the Gulf, where they even have tornado watches going on this morning. Our future track, clean and clear as can be, so no travel concerns if you're out and about, whether it be today, Friday, or even the weekend. Now, speaking of the weekend, that's where we were able to make it up back into the 50s. It'll be delightful. And then a little bit of a cold front we're looking at from Tuesday into Wednesday. Could even bring us a couple snowflakes associated with that as well.
All right, I think it's been a half an hour. How are you feeling about the holiday?
Hanging in there.
Doing all right?
Hanging in there.
Okay. Will, if
check
you're
back in with me in half an hour.
Okay, I plan on doing so.
Okay.
Yeah, and if the control room could let me know where Santa is, that would be great too.
He's going to the McMurdo station in Antarctica.
Okay, so he's just getting started.
Right, yeah. We're just now underway.
Oh wait, you said Antarctica?
Mm-hmm.
That's the opposite end of the. Isn't that the bottom of the planet?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he based in the North Pole?
But yeah, but he starts down in the South Pacific.
Oh, he works his way up?
Because you got to go with the international date line, and you got to work your way that way.
Right. Shipping logistics is like that's remarkable. All right, well, new this morning, a Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69 south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a suspect in southeast Kansas. Cherokee County deputies were called to a rural Columbus, Kansas home Tuesday afternoon when a property owner discovered a burglary in progress. The suspect fled in a truck until authorities stopped him near Southwest 30th and Greenlawn, where he got out and ran. From there, the manhunt was on. Authorities used a Cherokee County K-9 team while an aircraft out of Wichita searched overhead. After about 3 hours, they arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman of Riverton, Kansas, accused of various crimes, including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. Now that the coronavirus vaccines are arriving in the 4 states, many of the most vulnerable parts of the population are wondering when they'll be able to get one. KOAM's Zach Dodge talked to officials in southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma and has some answers.
Coronavirus vaccines have arrived in Crawford County, Kansas, and they're already being put to use.
It's exciting. It's a great Christmas present.
Crawford County Health Department received 200 doses of the Moderna vaccine, which is being used to vaccinate EMS personnel and health department staff, all of whom fall into phase 1 of the state's plan, along with nursing home residents and staff. But what about those over 65 who don't live in a nursing home and people at high risk because of health conditions?
Late winter, they should expect to be able to receive some vaccine.
Health Department Director Janice Godeke says how that happens depends on the amount of vaccine they receive. If they get a large quantity, they want to hold curbside or drive-through vaccine clinics where residents wouldn't need an appointment. But if the number is low, they plan to do it by appointment at the health department.
We'll use all media components, newspaper, TV, social media, to let everybody know. We do want to get this out as soon as we can, and just the moment that we receive enough vaccine or a vaccine for the public, we will be letting them know.
In northeast Oklahoma, officials say access for that population is around 3 weeks out, and that they just started digging into their distribution plans.
We've started working with some of the emergency managers to identify some facilities where we can do mass distribution.
James Thompson, regional director over both Delaware and Ottawa County, says healthcare providers should be giving the vaccine by then as well. But when that process starts, residents will need to have an appointment.
I would encourage those who aren't already to follow their local county health department on Facebook. That would be a great place to gather that information.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Both officials we spoke with want to make sure residents are aware that there's a 15-minute observation period after receiving the vaccine. Well, Merck has reached a $356 million deal with the U.S. government to supply a promising new investigational coronavirus drug. The drug, which is currently only known as MK7110, has shown early promise in treating patients already sick with COVID-19 who are severely or critically ill. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says COVID patients who received a single dose were 60% more likely to recover. Also, compared to placebo, treatment with MK7110 appears to cut the risk of respiratory failure or death by 50%. Under the deal with HHS and the Department of Defense, Merck would deliver 100,000 doses by the end of June 2021. If the FDA grants emergency use authorization, the new medication would be provided at no cost to patients. The Newton County Health Department is reporting 3 more COVID-19 deaths. The county says the patients were all men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. These latest deaths bring the county's total to 64. The Department of Social Services in Missouri has suspended recertification interviews for SNAP benefits. Typically, SNAP recipients must do an interview when they apply and then a recertification interview every 12 to 24 months. But starting on December 28th, that recertification interview will not be required. The change does not apply to those submitting new applications for SNAP benefits. They must still do an interview. All right, it is 6:07, Michael.
And it is cold, Jesse. Wind chills right now, mostly in the teens, and even after the sunshine kicks in on our Christmas Eve day, only going to be able to make it into the 30s. Now, Christmas Day itself, a little bit better. Plenty of sunshine and 40-degree temps during the afternoon. And as a matter of fact, the mercury keeps on climbing as we head into the weekend, and we'll throw up 50s on both Saturday and Sunday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Santa makes his last appearance for our Notes to the North Pole segment. He'll be reading more Christmas lists sent in by 4-state kids and answering some questions, too, about how he gets things done. Plus, stopping porch pirates.
Millions of packages are stolen during the holiday season. I'm Nichelle Medina with how neighbors are stepping up to stop porch pirates.
And why it may be too late to get COVID-19 test results back before Christmas. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, analysts believe Americans bought a record number of holiday gifts online this year. The Dow added 114 points. The Nasdaq dropped 36. The S&P 500 added 2. Stocks were higher until late in the trading day when President Trump vetoed the annual National Defense Authorization Act, a sweeping bill that funds the military. Congress passed the bill earlier this month with enough votes to override the president's veto. Now, lawmakers have already scheduled a vote for next week. China's looking into Alibaba. The government there is conducting an anti-monopoly investigation of how it limits the options it gives to merchants who use its platforms. Chinese authorities have recently started taking a stronger stance against the e-commerce giant and its co-founder, Jack Ma, the country's richest man. Excedrin is recalling 433,000 bottles of its over-the-counter pain relievers due to a manufacturing defect. The bottles may have a hole at the bottom, posing a risk that children could access and swallow the pills. The 5 affected products were sold between March and September of this year. So far, there have been no reported injuries. Bottles without holes can still be used, and customers can get a refund for damaged products. Because of the coronavirus crisis, that's given criminals more opportunities to play the Grinch and steal those deliveries. But now neighbors are teaming together to stop them. Michelle Medina reports.
A driver delivering a package is a common sight during the holidays. Unfortunately, so is this. A woman who was following the truck went on Rob Trigg's porch and took it.
It's devastating, I will tell you that, especially when you come home and you're expecting those packages to be there.
Lucky for Trigg, his next-door neighbor was watching from the window and called police. Authorities caught up with her and found a number of packages inside her car.
We have such great neighbors. We all take care of each other.
Neighbors are taking care of each other nationwide. In Northern California, Isaac Fisher has started a porch pirate patrol.
Since a lot of us are working from home, including me, this is something we can do for our neighbors.
Last year, the security company Safewise estimated some 2 million packages were swiped from homes every day, and that was before the pandemic led to an increase in online shopping. So Isaac asked neighbors to step outside when they see a delivery truck.
If people see people coming out on their porch, that could be a deterrent.
It worked in New Jersey, where Jenny Schaefer saw this man reach down and pick up a package from her neighbor's porch.
I thought, not on our street. So I immediately went out the front door and onto my porch and started yelling at him.
He eventually left empty-handed. In Texas, a man was able to steal items from several homes, but quick-thinking neighbors contacted police and shared their security footage, which led to an arrest. Michelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
Well, that's it for Money Watch. Now here's Michael with our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Jesse. On the KOAM News Now Facebook and our Insta poll this morning asking if the pandemic is changing how you celebrate the holidays. And we'll resume our comments with Guy Hansen, who writes, roughly 20% of a group of 30 people I know have tested positive for the virus. One person had the sniffles, seriously. He says, imagine if we tested for the rhinovirus. Any virus can be deadly for the elderly or compromised individuals. 1 billion or more common colds are contracted every year in the U.S. Imagine if the mainstream news reported every case. So-called experts are saying that 20% to 1/3 of the country could test positive for COVID-19 and not even know they have it. Mary Dugan says, yes, plans have changed. Usually 25 to 30 people at the brother-in-law's home. This year, 4 of us. Will Batiste, thank you for that, Will, and I apologize for butchering that in the past. Will says, we will be spending time with family. We will not be practicing social distancing, not wearing masks, and more than likely, there will be much more than 10 people in attendance. We're going to laugh, be merry, and live our lives, all while remembering what this special day is all about and not getting the vaccine either. On the KOAM News Now Insta poll this morning, 62% of you say yes, it is changing the way that you celebrate Christmas, but 38% say no, not having a bearing at all. And you can vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back right after this.
We're less than 24 hours away from Christmas Day, and that means the busiest work day of the year for a certain individual. Now, before he sets off to break international shipping records, we had the opportunity to check in with the big man himself one last time. We are one day away from Christmas Day, and there's a lot of people who have Christmas Day off, for vacation or whatever it may be, then there's a lot of people who also work. And maybe the busiest person on Christmas Day and especially tonight is Santa Claus. And while it can be hard to get in touch with him, we had an in. And that's why he joins us right now from the North Pole. Santa Claus, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Jesse, and how are you this morning?
I can't tell you how excited I am for tonight, and I know you've got a lot going on up there at the North Pole, but how's prep going? I know this is the biggest shipping day of the year for you, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We've just about got the sleigh loaded up. There's a few last things to do. The reindeer are in taking naps, getting all rested up, and we're going to be ready to go right on time.
A lot of people around the 4 states have written out their lists, and I know some have sent them up to you. Did Gunner send a list for you?
Yes, he sure did. He sure did. I'll tell you just exactly what he wants here. He wants toy cars, wants a football, and he wants dinosaurs. Gunner also has a sister named Kara that he mentioned in his letter.
If I'm not mistaken, Kara, I think, sent something into. Did you get Kara's list?
I sure did. It came in with Gunner's. And Kara likes books, girly stuff, LOL Barbies, and Kara and Gunner have 3 dogs. They got Sugar, Zeus, and Daisy.
I'm so happy to hear that you got their list. Did you by any chance get a list from Charlotte in Chanute?
Yeah, I got a lot of lists from the 4 states this year, a bunch of them. But Charlotte's wanting new wallpaper for her room, twinkle lights, and a new phone case.
That's a pretty good list. I know we've got a friend named Kate who lives in Chanute. Did Kate, I think, send hers along with Charlotte's, right?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She wants LOL dolls also. There's a lot of those this year again. Pink dance outfits and Trolls boombox.
A friend of theirs, Nora, had sent in a list, and if I'm not mistaken, I know it. The post office said that it was sent. Did you by any chance receive it?
I sure did. It came in yesterday.
Thank goodness.
Nora, she's wanting Nana Surprise doll, makeup kit, LOL Remax dolls. Charlotte, Katie, and Nora, they're all sisters. They all have 2 cats named Peanut and Daisy.
Last one for you. I just want to check in. Something I had on my list growing up was walkie-talkies, and I know a friend of mine named Keston also has walkie-talkies on his list. Did you by any chance, did you get Keston's list this year? If not, it's okay, but...
I sure did. I think he's from Howard, Kansas, isn't he?
Yeah, you know Keston. Yeah, Keston, he wants walkie-talkies. I think there were some other things. Did he have anything else?
Yeah, he did. He had his walkie-talkies, and I tell you, we still use those up here at the North Pole to communicate with each other. He also wanted a sleeping bag and a toy truck and skid loader.
It's a great list. Well, Santa, we really appreciate you going through these lists with us. Well, it has been an honor to be able to speak with Santa Claus. We hope he has a wonderful journey, and we will track him on the Norad Santa Tracker over the next 24 hours. And we'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News after this. Topping Health Watch this morning, it's crunch time for people planning to celebrate Christmas, and the COVID-19 pandemic adds to that, with people wanting to get tested. Steven Sarabia reports.
Dozens of people lining up at COVID testing sites all before Christmas.
Our testing resources actually are a little strained right now. Some of the free sites have test wait dates until Saturday or later right now. So yeah, it is a little bit more difficult for people to access testing right now.
While it's highly encouraged to spend the holidays at home, for those who do decide to travel, health officials urge you to get tested before you go.
Yes, the CDC does recommend that if you are going to travel, that you be tested 1 to 3 days before travel.
According to Allison Stewart, the lead epidemiologist with the Williamson County Health District, with so many getting tested, you may get your results after Christmas.
Getting your results back in time to travel could be a challenge right now.
For those who are traveling for the holidays, Stewart says they're also recommending people get tested about 3 to 5 days after they return.
Try to limit your activities to only essential activities for at least 7 days after you return, even if you do test negative.
While Stewart says the recommendations against travel aren't enough to actually prevent people from doing so, they're predicting a large spike at the beginning of the new year.
We're expecting January to be kind of a pretty big month for cases. We're hoping we're wrong. I mean, maybe we're wrong. That would be great. But yeah, generally we see a surge in cases about 2 to 3 weeks after a major holiday.
Peru. Well, while the vaccine continues to be rolled out, Stewart says people need to continue to be vigilant, social distance, and wear a mask. A public service announcement from several healthcare companies based out of California reminds folks of the dangers of COVID-19, especially as Christmas approaches. The video features nurses and doctors as they plead for the public to put holiday plans on hold in order to protect themselves and the ones they love from the deadly virus. They're using the phrase, "Don't share your air," as their call to action. This PSA comes as coronavirus cases continue to rise, bringing hospitals across the country to maximum capacity. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Check out these wind chill numbers that we're looking at right now. As low as 9 degrees in Iola, Nevada, and Stockton. Only feels like 15 in Pittsburgh, 12 in Webb City. So we know we got a chilly Christmas Eve day, only going to make it up into the 30s, even with a good dose of sunshine. Speaking of sunshine, we'll get more of it on Christmas Day. Cold start, but able to see 40s here by the time it's all said and done, and then we rise into the 50s for the weekend. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
Starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30 a.m. I'm Jesse Irwin. Coming up this half hour, the latest after the government strikes a new vaccine deal with Pfizer. And our Something to Talk About this morning, we're asking if the pandemic is changing how you celebrate Christmas this year. You can also participate in our Insta poll. Just go to KOAMNews.now.com/vote. First, let's check in with our friend.
Starting off very clear on this Christmas Eve morn from the Skywatch Storm Tracker and a live look from our Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. But it is cold, only 23 degrees right now in Joplin. Let's go 24 in Cassville, 22 in Independence, nobody even close to the freezing mark as the wind shifted from yesterday, working in from the northwest. Not as blustery as it was, but certainly providing a bite in the December air. 9 is what it feels like in Iola, Nevada, and Stockton, and only 13 right now in Neosho. Not a whole lot of snow coming down in the contiguous 48, just a little bit up by the Great Lakes. Big storm system working down to the southeast with thunderstorm activity, providing them with even tornado watches. Now, as we progress through our Christmas Eve afternoon and officially the eve, going to have mostly sunny skies, just going to be cold today. Now for Christmas Day, can't beat it. Additional sunshine, cool, high of 45, and then we finally see the reemergence of the 50s by the time we get to the weekend. So absolutely no travel concerns for anybody that needs to be out on the road, whether it be today all the way into the weekend.
That's great news.
Yeah, no, it's perfect travel weather.
What do we know about Santa's location right now?
Right now we're looking at the Solomon Islands, so we're still in the South Pacific.
Do we have an estimate of how many gifts he's been able to drop off so far?
Yes, we are now at 500 million.
He's doing pretty well.
He's booking it.
Pace. Yeah. How are you feeling about the holidays? It's your half an hour check-in.
I'm getting there.
You getting there?
Yeah. Check back with me about half an hour.
You know, MLB released its all-holiday team name with holiday names.
Matt Holliday's got to be number one.
He's on there, yeah. JT Snow, Steve Christmas.
Good one. There used to be a guy who played at Columbus High School, heck of a football player and basketball player, Dane Christmas.
Pedro Feliz is on there as well.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Jamie Carroll, Dasher Troy.
Jamie Carroll. Keep on going.
Matt Holliday, Jesus Aguilar, and Dick Rudolph.
Oh, Jake Rudolph. That's a good one, too. I didn't think about him.
Yeah, pretty
I
fun.
like that.
All right, we'll keep an eye on Santa Tracker, and we'll keep an eye on your Christmas spirit.
Check back in with me about half an hour.
Will do. Well, new this morning, a Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69 south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a suspect in southeast Kansas. Cherokee County deputies were called to a rural Columbus, Kansas home Tuesday afternoon when a property owner discovered a burglary in progress. The suspect fled in a truck until authorities stopped him near Southwest 30th and Greenlawn, where he got out and ran. And that's where the manhunt was on. Authorities used a Cherokee County K-9 team while an aircraft out of Wichita searched overhead. After about 3 hours, they arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman of Riverton, Kansas, accused of various crimes, including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. We're learning more about when elderly who don't live in a nursing facility may have access to coronavirus vaccines. The Crawford County Health Department says they should be available for those people by late winter. Once they are available, how they're distributed will depend on the number they receive. So if they get a lot, they want to hold curbside and drive-through vaccine clinics where older residents and those with underlying health conditions wouldn't need an appointment. If it's a smaller number, they'll do them at the health department by appointment.
The light at the end of the tunnel, we can kind of see a little small light at the end of the tunnel if we get good cooperation through the community and can get this herd immunity. Our community will be safe again and can go back to normal activities, and we can't wait for that.
The regional director for Ottawa and Delaware counties in Oklahoma says those residents could have access in around 3 weeks. Officials are currently trying to find locations for mass vaccination clinics. Health officials in both states say they'll announce their final plans on social media and with the local news. Some last-minute Christmas shoppers are doing their shopping in person to get those gifts in time, but not all of those gifts are available in the stores still. KOAM's Chris Warner caught up with some last-minute shoppers at North Park Mall in Joplin.
North Park Mall in Joplin, despite the pandemic, is a hotspot for last-minute shoppers. The majority of them taking the appropriate COVID precautions while they look for something to make Christmas complete, like Dusty Ray.
Well, exactly that I am a husband and a father, and we wait till the last minute to do any of this stuff, right? It's not Christmas Eve yet. Good, I have plenty of time.
He's been on the hunt for some specific TV box sets, which have been tough to come by.
And it seems like no matter what I'm looking for or where I'm going, they are nice enough at the mall that if they don't have it, they send you to the store that does. So it's like they're all helping each other right now during this time of year for sure.
Jonathan North is out at the last minute too, but not because he waited on purpose.
Had to get some stuff for the family. Just been busy, so I had to get out and try to get things done as quick as I could.
Michael Atkinson says for him, it's not last minute shopping.
I don't shop that way. I don't have a plan. It's like you go through the aisles, something says buy me, I'm for so-and-so.
Sean Hass says he realized he was missing some gifts.
Do you think you got what you need for the wife, and then it hits you that you don't have what you need for the wife? So then you're like, well, let's go out, see what people have, got an idea or two in mind.
There's something he's looking for and can't seem to find, but he says he has a good backup plan.
Love and affection is something that you can't put a price on. So I can always give her that, which is definitely a bonus. She gets it every day, but sometimes you got to shower it a little more than you normally would, which is nice.
From North Park Mall in Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Well, according to research from payment platform Klarna, more than 1/3 of shopping procrastinators waited until this week to make their final purchases. And shameless plug here, there's a list of some ideas for last-minute gifts on our morning show page if you are still in need of getting something before tomorrow. Well, Santa Claus took a break from his busy schedule to tour the Tri-Cities Fire Protection District aboard a temporary sleigh, or as we call it down here, a pickup. Santa and Mrs. Claus visited kids in Alba, Purcell, and Next City.
It's good. They usually get really excited, lots of smiles, and of course the little ones, some of them get scared, but it's a good time.
Santa, of course, did not come empty-handed. He provided some small gifts for kiddos who stopped to see him. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, the latest on the stimulus debate.
Democrats will try and increase the size of your stimulus checks, but will Republicans agree? I'm Deborah Alfarone on Capitol Hill with the latest on the coronavirus relief bill and a slew of presidential pardons.
Plus, for something to talk about, we're asking if the pandemic is changing how you celebrate Christmas this year. We let you weigh in, but first, the time is 6:37.
We've got wind chills in the teens on this Christmas Eve morning. Sunshine later on, but only into the 30s. Christmas, though, does have 40s and more sunny skies. We'll be back with Nation Watch right after this.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump has pardoned more people this week, including some who went to jail because of the Russia investigation. Deborah Alfarone is on Capitol Hill with details on that, as well as the latest on coronavirus relief package.
President Trump pardoned more than 24 people last night, including some longtime political supporters.
Roger Stone was treated very unfairly.
Former advisor Roger Stone was convicted of lying to Congress, witness tampering, and obstruction stemming from the Russia investigation.
My trial was a Soviet-style show trial.
Former campaign manager Paul Manafort was convicted of financial crimes brought by special counsel Robert Mueller.
I feel very badly for Paul Manafort.
Also receiving a pardon, Charles Kushner, the father of President Trump's son-in-law, who completed his sentence over a decade ago.
Loathsome, disgusting crimes.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, a one-time ally of President Trump, was the U.S. attorney who prosecuted him.
Guy hires a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law and videotapes it, and then sends the videotape to his sister to attempt to intimidate her from testifying before a grand jury.
Here on Capitol Hill, the focus is on presidential vetoes. President Trump vetoed the National Defense Bill yesterday, and he's threatening to do the same to the coronavirus relief bill.
You know, people are hurting right now. They're hurting.
Today, House Democrats will introduce an amendment to try and increase the amount of the bill's $600 stimulus checks after the president released this message.
Increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000.
It's a long shot, given they need Republicans to agree, leaving the bill and much-needed money on the table while Congress goes home for Christmas. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
The coronavirus relief bill passed with a veto-proof majority, but the president could veto it anyways, delaying any stimulus checks getting into the hands of the people who need it most. The defense bill also passed with an overwhelming majority. Congress is expected to override the veto next week. Former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang joins the list of people exploring a possible mayoral bid in New York City, according to filings with the city. During the presidential campaign, Yang advocated for Americans to receive a universal basic income. The U.S. government struck a deal to buy 100 million more doses of Pfizer's vaccine. COVID-related deaths are surging during the holiday season, with more than 3,400 in the U.S. on Tuesday alone. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check in with Michael for our Morning Talker.
Thank you, Jesse. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, asking if the pandemic is changing the way that you celebrate Christmas this year. We'll continue our comments with Melissa Timmy. Melissa says, gonna stay home, just me, my dog, and cat. Have a lot of elderly people depending on me at the salon. It's the only place they visit to feel human. Be the solution, not the problem. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Melissa. Mary Lou's staying home, not gathering for Christmas as we normally do. However, due to work schedules, our Christmas probably would have been last weekend. But we're all in touch, and it is Christmas. The joy is there. The beginning of a 33-year life on Earth that changed the world. Natalie Short, staying home and staying safe for Natalie. Merry Christmas to you, Miss Natalie. Rocky Cunningham, going to have a pizza feed and exchange gifts with the kiddos, same as last year, same as next year. And well played with the picture there, Rocky. Lisa Wickwire, not doing anything different, just myself, my daughter, and my granddaughter. Same people I'm around all the time. Want to wish my granddaughter, Jasmine Sanchez Travick, a big happy 14th birthday today. Merry Christmas, KOAM. Merry Christmas to you, Lisa. A happy birthday to Jasmine. Speaking of, why don't we come back, celebrate more birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Private First Class Charles Faust was a member of the United States Army from 1942 to 1946. He served during World War II, where he earned the Good Conduct Medal, American Theater Ribbon, and a Victory Medal. His hometown, Miami, Oklahoma. We're proud to salute Charles Faust, a four-state hero.
Now, we were just talking about Miss Jasmine Sanchez Travis, and there she is, her 14th birthday in Webb City. And Jasmine, happy birthday from Mom, Dad, and your grandmother, who we just heard from on Facebook, Lisa Wickwire.
Beautiful. Happy birthday, Jasmine. Happy birthday. Turning 19 in Jasper, it's Whitley Buchanan's birthday. Whitley, happy 19th birthday. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and weekend.
Pair of twos on the board for Dakota Hartman as he celebrates his 22nd. Happy birthday, Dakota, in Baxter Springs.
In the Berg, turning 23 is Emily Smithson. Emily, Merry Christmas Eve and happy 23rd birthday.
Micah Omi celebrating a 28th birthday. Happy birthday to Micah in the Berg.
4 decades of Brandon Moon. Brandon in Chanute, happy birthday, Brandon, and happy holidays as well.
And we got a Jesse birthday. It is Brent. Happy 56, my man. Long time no see. Brent celebrating in Crestline.
You know how you say his last name is Jesse!
Jesse.
Yeah, happy birthday, Brent. And happy birthday to Ted Garrison in Columbus. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holidays, Ted. Happy birthday, my man.
If you're out at Medical Lodge, just practice that social distancing and make sure that you tell Orville Hamilton a very happy birthday. Dana Schaefer, where's a picture, Dana? Happy birthday to Dana in Arma. And Melissa Earl celebrating her 50th in Jasper.
You know, I heard whispers of this. I didn't know if it was true, but it is. In Weir, Kelsey Thomas celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Kelsey. It's also in the bus, turning 12. It's Shade's birthday. Happy birthday, Shade. And celebrating their 9th anniversary, the Smoots. Roger and Sandy, happy anniversary, you two. Merry Christmas Eve as well.
Lucian Kelly with a big number 5. And then it is a Christmas holiday birthday affair for the Gurney family. So Jack turns 5. Happy birthday to Jack in Joplin. Lucas turns 4. Lucas in Joplin as well. And then Caden celebrates number 4 as well in Parsons. Boy, I tell you what, the Gurneys find themselves a tad bit busy here in late December. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Here's Jesse Irwin with a very important birthday announcement.
I bet Jack loves whenever somebody asks who's older between Lucas and Caden. I bet Jack loves being like, I am, jumping in. Hey, you can be part of the KOAM Birthday Club too. Just go to our website and sign up. You get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and you can sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
A beautiful Christmas Eve morning across the 4 states. Live look from Television City right there. As far as our records on December 24th, 1955, Christmas Eve got up to 73 degrees, and then in 1983, we got as cold as 10 below zero. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera, it is a chilly one, sitting at 23 degrees right now, 24 in Oswego and 22 in Nevada. Now the wind, a complete shift from yesterday when it came in from the south, now working out of the northwest, has calmed down just a little bit, but still picking up double digits there in Chanute, Nevada. And what that's done, it puts a little bite in that air. Wind chills as low as 9 in Nevada and Stockton. We sit at 16 in Pittsburgh and 12 in Neosho and Cassville. Skywatch Storm Tracker, clean as can be. Really no worries west of the Mississippi. You see a little snow up there for the Great Lakes as far as them being able to take advantage of a white Christmas. And then a mess down here at the Gulf. Not only thunderstorm activity, but they also have tornado watches throughout the course of the morning. So we'll keep our eyes on that leading up to the KOAM news at noon. Here in the 4 states, sunny skies, temps in the mid-30s. Not a whole lot of snow going to fall here as far as Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. It's about the only place you're going to see the white Christmas coming down right there. As I mentioned, everything on the other side of the Mississippi, clean and clear as can be. So for our Christmas Day, more sunshine, little bit warmer than what we're going to have today, as we'll see temps up into the 40s. And then we keep on climbing as we head into the weekends with 50s on Saturday and Sunday. A little rain kicks in Sunday night into Monday, and then we're looking at a cold front there on Tuesday that could bring us a little wintry precip before the middle of next week and the end of 2020. We'll be back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. A couple more Facebook comments. Deb Leggett, she's working 2 jobs and is an essential worker. Deb, thank you for all that you do, ma'am. Beth Clark, working 10 hours today. Corporate world don't care that it's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Staying home this year, like most should. Amber Hallisey says Christmas is going to be the same as Thanksgiving. Not about to risk my elderly mother's health by traveling up to KC to visit during a pandemic. Her health, much more important to me than any holiday could possibly be. So I'll be staying home and fixing a much scaled down Christmas dinner. Thank you for all your engagement this morning on Facebook. One final look at our morning Insta poll, where 60% of you say yes, pandemic is changing how you're spending your Christmas plans. 40% of you say no, it really is having no effect whatsoever. Jesse?
All right, well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you walk out the door. A Commerce, Oklahoma man is dead after being hit by a car overnight. It happened a little before 9 last night on Highway 69, about 50 miles south of Commerce. 27-year-old Travis Huff was walking south in the northbound lane. A car heading north saw Huff in the road and attempted to go around him. Police say Huff stepped into the vehicle's path, causing the car to hit him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The Crawford County Health Department says COVID-19 vaccines should be available for the elderly by late winter. How they're distributed will depend on the number they receive. If they get a lot, the health department wants to hold curbside and drive-through vaccine clinics. But if it's a smaller number, they'll do them at the health department by appointment. The Department of Social Services in Missouri has suspended recertification interviews for SNAP benefits. Typically, SNAP recipients must do an interview when they apply and then a recertification interview every 12 to 24 months. But starting December 28th, that recertification interview will not be required. The change does not apply to those submitting new applications for SNAP benefits. They must still do an interview. A manhunt by air and land ends with the arrest of a burglary suspect in Royal Columbus, Kansas. After about 3 hours of searching, Cherokee County Police arrested 23-year-old Jacob Huffman. He stands accused of various crimes, including aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, residential burglary, theft, and drug offenses. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And it is a cold one outside. Wind chills in the teens, if not single digits. It's going to take a while before we can creep up to even get to the freezing point, and so prepare yourself for that. Now, it is going to be gorgeous today if you have to travel, not only on the Christmas Eve, but also should you need to be out on Christmas Day. Brings us more sunshine and temperatures into the 40s. Good looking 4-state December weekend. How about 50s on Saturday and Sunday? And then we look for a little rain to begin Sunday night into Monday morning.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're going to keep an eye on where Santa is with the Norad Santa Tracker. And of course, Michael, you're going to have our weather as well.
That's right. Right now, the Santa Tracker has him in the northeast portion of Russia. We are now up to 650 million gifts delivered.
Jeez.
It's called booking it now.
Yeah.
All right, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Yeah, but I would switch over with us. We're going to be on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we're going to be speaking with Jeff Huffman. He is the infectious disease pharmacist with Freeman Health. He's answering all of our vaccine-related questions, and we'll have that. Plus, we check in with Santa one last time.
And we'll roll your comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll. That wraps it up. Have a delightful Christmas Eve. A Merry Christmas to all of you from all of us at KOAM, and we'll do this all again on Christmas morning.
And we'll see you today at noon after the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Today's Pledge of Allegiance is brought to you by Freeman Health